The dust is in your eyelids before you open them. Fine black basalt, caked in the creases, ground into the lashes from yesterday and the day before. You will not wash. Not yet. You are 35 years old. You have carved stone eyes for 15 years, and the stone has carved you back. Beside you, on the dirt floor, the hammerstone waits. This is an Olmec stone carver in La Venta on a workshop day in 900 BC. By the time the sun sets, the eyelid of a 17-ton basalt head will be finished. A delegation from a quarry 80 miles inland will have arrived on foot. You will drink cacao with your master in fading light. You have no wheel, you have no metal, you have no horse. Everything you've been told about this day is incomplete. Today, we decode the real one. The place is La Venta. The year is 900 BC. 4 centuries have passed since the founding of San Lorenzo, the first great Olmec center. The complex you live in is at its peak. A pyramid of packed earth rises 30 meters above the swamp, the tallest structure for hundreds of miles. Inside the workshop, a basalt block sits on a wooden cradle. It is roughly shaped into a human head. It weighs 17 tons. The smaller heads in this tradition weigh 6 tons. The largest weigh 50. Yours is mid-sized. 3 months of work have gone into it. The basalt did not come from here. It came from the Tuxtla Mountains, roughly 80 to 100 kilometers to the west. The stone was quarried, shaped at the source, and moved across forest, river, and swamp to this island in the Tonala Basin. It was moved without a wheel. There are no wheeled vehicles anywhere in the Americas in 900 BC. It was moved without a horse, an ox, or any animal large enough to pull a load. There are none on this continent. It was moved without metal. The hammerstones in your workshop are basalt and andesite, struck against basalt, ground with river sand. In a workshop beside a pyramid of earth on a swampy island, a man is checking the edge of a hammerstone he made himself. There is no one else in the world who can make it for him. You sit up. The dirt floor is cold against your heels. Outside, the swamp is still dark, and the forest behind it is full of the small noises that come before light. Insects, a single bird, water moving somewhere you cannot see. You wash your face in a clay bowl. The water comes away gray. The dust in your eyelids does not come out completely. It never does. Your eldest son is already awake. He is 11 years old. He sits on the packed earth with a flat slab of sandstone between his knees. He is sharpening a hammerstone, drawing it in slow strokes across the abrasive surface. His hands move the way your hands moved when you were 11. His eyelids are dust-rimmed in the same places as yours. You eat. A few mouthfuls of cold maize from the night before. You do not speak. Your wife does not speak. The boy does not speak. The work begins before the conversation does. By the time you reach the workshop, gray light is in the east. There is enough to see the shape of the head on its wooden cradle. The basalt block is a darker mass against a dark room. You set out the 4 hammerstones on a woven mat. Rough, medium, fine, finishing. In that order, left to right. You pick up the rough one. You weigh it in your palm. You step to the head and you set the first strike of the morning into the upper curve of the eye socket. The sound is sharp. It rings. By mid-morning, the chief carver of the workshop will arrive. He has been with the ruler since dawn, and the ruler is not pleased with the last head they delivered. The sun has climbed. The workshop is louder now. 4 other carvers work along the back wall. The percussion of basalt on basalt is constant, like rain on a hard roof. You have set down the rough hammerstone. You pick up the second in the row. Medium, smaller in the palm, denser in the grain, shaped for a point of contact instead of a broad face. You strike less hard now, you strike more often. At the workshop edge, a woman tends a clay vessel over low coals, cacao paste, roasting. The smell is bitter and faintly burnt. It mixes with the dry mineral smell of pulverized basalt in a way that belongs to this trade and no other. You are working on the eyelid. The upper curve is already defined. Now you shape the soft fold above it. The small ridge will catch shadow and read from across a plaza as a heavy gaze. Footsteps behind you. You do not turn. You know the walk. The chief carver is 50 years old. He taught you to hold a hammerstone when you were 6. He has been with the ruler since before dawn. He stops behind your shoulder. He does not speak. He looks at the chin. He looks for 10 seconds, perhaps 12. He looks at you once. Then he walks on. The conversation just exchanged was not in words. You understand. The chin needs to be brought in, not visibly, not in any way an outside observer would catch, but in a way the ruler will see. You set down the medium hammerstone. You wash your hands in a clay bowl. The water comes away gray. You reach for the finer one, and then, from the eastern path, a sound that does not belong in a workshop. Men walking in line, 80 miles of forest on their feet. You're still here. Good. In a few minutes, I'll show you something that was pulled out of the ground in 1999. It rewrote the history of writing in the Americas. The textbooks haven't caught up yet. Hit subscribe. Decoded by Jack. Let's keep going. The delegation passes. 8 men, lean, mud to the knees, jade at the ears. They are walking to the ruler's compound to announce a block freed in the Tuxtla quarry. You catch the green of the jade once, wet against dust-colored skin. Then they are gone. The workshop returns to its sound. You are alone with the head now. The other carvers have moved to the back. The chief carver is across the compound. Your son has gone for water, 17 tons of basalt, and you and the small finishing hammerstone in your palm. This one is the heaviest of the 4. Smaller than the others, denser, the size of a closed fist. After 6 hours of using it, the meat of your hand is bruised through the grip. You feel the weight of it now. You weigh it twice before you raise it. The chin! You step around to the front of the head. You look at it the way the ruler will look at it. You hold the hammerstone against the underside of the jaw. You set the angle. You strike once. A sliver of basalt falls, the size of a coin, the weight of a coin. You do not look at it on the ground. You look at the chin. The change is invisible to anyone who did not see the previous head. The ruler will see it. Your hand is steady, but you set down the hammerstone. You walk to the clay bowl and wash the dust off your palm. You wash it once. You wait. You wash it again. Then you come back. You return to the eyelid, the upper fold, the shadow it will catch. You work in finer and finer strikes. The surface holds the light the way the eye of a living man holds the light. The eyelid is finished. The chin is corrected. The light is going. And from across the workshop, the chief carver lifts a clay cup and gestures you over. You walk across the workshop. The light is the color of cooked honey now, slanting low through the open wall. The chief carver sits on a low bench. 2 clay cups are in front of him. He hands you one. The cacao is dark and bitter, gritty on the tongue, ground from beans roasted that morning. No sugar exists in this world. The bitterness is the point. You drink, he drinks. Outside the workshop, the howler monkeys are starting up from the canopy, the deep coughing roar that carries for miles across the swamp. He looks at the head once. He looks at you once. He nods. That is the whole conversation. You walk home. The path passes the foot of the great earthen pyramid. The terraced flank catches the last red light of the sun. 30 meters of human-moved earth above the swamp. You do not stop. Your wife is grinding maize on a stone metate. The 3 children are inside. The youngest is already asleep. Your eldest son is waiting with something in his hands. It is the sandstone slab from the morning. He turns it over and shows you where he sharpened the 4 hammerstones. The grooves are even. The pressure was right. He has not been told this. He shows you anyway, because he wants you to see he did it correctly. You set your hand briefly on the back of his head. The dust on your palm and the dust in his hair are the same dust. You eat. You lie down on the woven palm mat. The boy curls against your side without speaking. On the dirt floor beside the mat, 4 hammerstones are arranged in order of fineness, ready for tomorrow. That is the day. A 17-ton stone head, an inch closer to finished. Now, let me tell you what almost no one outside of Mesoamerican archaeology understands about the people who made it. Decoded 1. They moved 25 tons with no wheel and no beast. Here's what you've probably heard. The Olmec colossal heads weigh up to 50 tons. The basalt came from mountains 80 to 100 kilometers from the carving sites. How did they do it? The popular answer is some version of mystery or some version of help from elsewhere. The evidence is that they did it with what they had. No wheel. There were no wheeled cargo vehicles anywhere in pre-Columbian America. No draft animals. No horses, oxen, or camels existed in the Americas until the Spanish brought them in 1519. No metal tools. What they had were ropes, log rollers, and rafts on rivers, swollen in the rainy season. The work took around 1,500 laborers and several months for each head. The colossal heads are not a mystery, they are a project. Decoded 2. Everything that came after was theirs first. Here's the second thing. What we call Mesoamerican civilization includes the Maya, the Zapotec, the Aztec. All of it sits on Olmec foundations. Every signature element of the region appears in the Olmec archaeological record first. The 260-day ritual calendar, attested in Olmec context centuries before Maya use, the ball game with rubber balls and stone courts, first excavated at Olmec sites, jade as the material of elite power, Olmec, pyramid construction on earthen platforms, Olmec, the carving of rulers as named portraits, Olmec, the jaguar deity that recurs across the entire region for 2,000 years. Olmec. The Maya inherited the calendar, the Aztec inherited the gods, and the Olmec themselves collapsed around 400 BC. They left no descendant culture that called itself Olmec or remembered them by name. They built the floor everyone else stood on. Then they were gone. Decoded 3. And they were writing before the Maya. And here's the third thing, the closer. You've probably been taught that the earliest writing in the Americas is Maya. The oldest readable Maya glyphs come from a site called San Bartolo in Guatemala and date to roughly 300 BC. In 1999, road builders in Veracruz pulled a slab of green serpentine stone out of a pile of debris. It carried 62 distinct symbols carved in horizontal rows. Linguists examined the arrangement and concluded it was consistent with a true writing system. It was dated to around 900 BC. That is 6 centuries older than the oldest readable Maya inscription. It was published in Science magazine in 2006. We still cannot read it. It is called the Cacao block. Now do the math. The year on the block is the year of this video. While he was carving the eye of that head, someone else in the Olmec world was cutting symbols into a slab of green stone. 62 of them. That slab would stay buried for 2,900 years. You are asleep. The boy is curled against your side, his breath shallow against your shoulder. On the dirt floor beside the mat, 4 hammerstones lie in order of fineness, ready for the morning. The lamp is low, almost out. The dust is still caught in the lashes of your closed eye. A few hundred yards away, in the dark workshop, the 17-ton head sits on its wooden cradle. The eye you finished today is open in the dark. The same dust that lies on your closed lashes lies on its carved fold. 29 centuries from now, that head will sit under a glass roof in a museum in Villahermosa. Your son's hands will be dust. Your master's hands will be dust. The basalt block from the Tuxtla Mountains was moved 80 miles by men who had no wheel. It will outlast every empire that has ever been or ever will be on this continent. The eye you carved today will still be open.